Today I'll show you my entire garden. So this is going to be a full-blown garden tour. To give you a bit of perspective, this is the entire garden overview. So just to give you a sort of an idea of what it looks like, the whole thing. So right hand side there's a wall at the back, sitting area where I am eventually going to have a patio when I find some money for that. Then we have some flower beds, raised beds, sort of mixture of things. And then on the left we've got a bit of grass, small lawn, and some more sort of flower beds. Okay, so that's the entire garden. Okay, now we start from the right hand side and walk you through exactly what I have in here. So you can see there's no sun in here. It's very sunny at the moment. You can see there's a lot of sun here, but that side of the garden is very shady. So that's where I grow, say, apples. You'll see them in a minute. And then the rest of the garden is quite sunny, but then you can see that the house is already shading that part of the garden. So there's a lot of sun during the day in the morning in here, but then in the afternoon it's already, you can see that's the line of the house, and then obviously it progresses that way. So the most sunny part of the garden is the back there, followed by then this areas here and that area here, and then this is the most shaded part of the garden. So there's actually very little sun in here. And then what I have in here, I created sort of raised beds. This is wood, big sort of chunky sleepers, and it seems that it's attracting a lot of bugs. For example, ladybugs. They sort of sleep in all the crevices, which is fantastic. So what I have over here is, this is the little frog area. Nice cozy house. For the frogs over here, sort of a nice fancy grass, and you can see that's a frog area. It's marked by the little frog there. Pond, small pond, again with a little frog in there, and you can see that it's looking fairly healthy. The pond, it's got some snails and some newts in there, and this is water mint. It actually smells very. Oh, it smells like toothpaste. This thing, that's water mint over here. And I have some ferns in there, you can see at the back there, and then there's another one there. This one is not doing very well, so I just need to think about this, what to do with that. And then I have some sort of overhanging branches to create a bit more shade. Bug hotel on the wall over here. It's really quite cute, isn't it? And then I have all this wall here. I am trying to grow some apples, but we'll see. And then there's a pear tree at the bottom as well. But you know, this is the only sort of places where I could put nice wire trellis. You can see the wire trellis. There's several runs of the wire trellis all the way to the top, and then I'm trying to grow these espalier apples, but I've made some mistakes in training them. I'll do a special video on that, on how to correct these mistakes, because you can see that there are rungs missing, so I'll definitely do another video on that. So subscribe if you haven't done that yet, so you don't miss those. Here we have Lovage. This thing is really very potent. Oh, it smells like Maggi. Not sure if you know Maggi. That's sort of a spice. I'm not sure if it's a spice, but you can add it to soups. That's kind of the smell that this has. You can put it in stews or in soups. It's just the leaves that you use. Very potent smell. I have quite a few of those. I have, I think, 3 or 4 plants in here, so they need moving around and sort of tidying up. I have a fresh one, a baby one growing in here, so I might just keep that one for next year, and then maybe replant these. What else have we got in here? So you can see the apples. There's apples on the tree there already. Nice little acer. Again, it's kind of disappearing in this location. Acers do like a shady locations, but they don't like soggy feet. So I might just move it somewhere else. For now, it's looking all right, but and also they don't like windy locations. So shady and not windy, this is definitely a good spot because the wind breaks, the wall breaks the wind. And so this ace is doing really well there, but I don't really see it that much because you can see it's right at the back behind all this stuff. So I think I'm going to move him somewhere else where it's more visible. And then I'll show you what's over there in a minute, and then let's just go in here. This is nice square, rectangular bed, and I just have a few flowers in here. There's cosmos, you can see doing really well. I have some parsnips. So as you can see, I grow vegetables amongst flowers and plants. Because I just find that actually it seems to be working better than just growing them in nice, very neat rows. Now, I don't have vegetable patch in here, so this is a very much. I want to create a garden that is functional. It looks amazing, but also produces food. So that's why I have sort of taken this approach of mixing the flowers and edibles all in one. And also, what I found by doing that, my plants, my edibles, are actually suffering less from diseases and pests because pests get confused. If you line a row of carrots, obviously a carrot fly will start with the first carrot and it will go doink, 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 and it'll just finish on the last one. Whereas if you scatter things around, your carrot fly has got a harder job to find all the carrots that you've planted. So that's a bit of a maybe trick there. This here is a gorgeous plum tree. Look, I have plums. This is the first year that I am actually going to have plums. And I am really looking forward to it because there's lots of them. Look, they are over here and there's another bunch over there. I mean, they're looking fantastic. Look. I'm so looking forward to this. This is my first year, I have never ever grown plums in my entire life. So I'm very proud of this. Look, there's another few here, they're gorgeous. So then what else have we got in here? Some few lovely flowers. These are autumn flowers I'm growing in these. So they will be ready. I'm getting quite good. So what else have we got in here? We've got mint in the pot. So when you have mint in the garden, do not put it in the ground. You plant it in a pot because if you put it in the ground, it's like a weed. You will never get rid of it. So that's a little tip for you. And then a nice hosta on this wall as well. It's flowering at the moment, which looks really cool. Some more apples right at the back there. You can see that there's not a huge amount of light in here. Hey, Hunter. Hunter's hurt his paws, so he's not allowed out, but I'm kind of bending the rules a little bit. So we've got, not sure what this is called. You can see it on the coast, south coast quite a bit. I forgot what the name is called, but it's very lovely. It's kind of gone a bit woody at the bottom and kind of goes everywhere. So I might think about maybe trimming it later in the year. So I'll do a video on that because it should recover. It should recover from the kind of hard pruning, and maybe I just want it to be more bushy down over there rather than just kind of spilling over here. Cherry tree, really lovely. It's one of those column trees that you're supposed to grow as a column tree. So it's kind of what it looks like. I keep sort of snipping the ends in the summer. So when you're trimming trees, especially in the summer, don't hard prune them in the summer because all of that, the plant is kind of moving all the juices around. So what you want to do is kind of just snip the ends like so to keep the shape. That's all you want to take out in the summer, and then later in the year, ideally you want to prune trees early spring, so like maybe February, March time, just before it starts to bud, because what happens with trees is during the summer, all the juices are flowing and leaves are growing, and the plant is actually sort of obviously or awake. Now, for autumn, what happens in autumn is when the leaves starts to fall off, the plant is concentrating the sugars in the branches. So the food for the winter is actually stored in the branches for the plants. So don't trim it at the beginning of the winter, because you are robbing the plant from all the nutrients that is just stored. Whereas over the winter, the plant is using the sugars that have been concentrated in the branches, and then these are kind of depleted by the time the spring comes. So the best time to trim trees like this one is actually really early spring rather than late autumn or early winter. I have another Acer in here. Looks really good, this one actually. It's looking nice and not windswept. It's got new leaves for this year. It's really lovely actually. This is a vine actually, a grapevine, which is only squatting here for the moment. You can see it's in the pot over there. It is a Boskop Glory variety. It's going to be a black grape. It's actually, I'm waiting for a location in the front of the house to be available, and then he's actually going to be planted there, so I'll move the pot. Here we have a nice hosta as well with flowers on it. Looks really good. The purple flowers, sort of light, they're not purple, they're actually light lilac flowers. Really lovely. And what else? It's interesting. This is my espalier pear tree. For this one, I haven't actually made too many mistakes, so I'm really quite pleased about that. There's one branch missing at the bottom, so I'm hoping that we can catch up with that one when I see some new growth. But apart from that, I actually have branches on each of the rungs, so that looks really good actually. And then I'm gonna train the top ones, so bend them down later, and so start to trail them along that piece as well. So the pear tree is looking good. This is elderflower. It's a black elderflower. I think it's one of those. Not sure if you can make elderflower cordial out of it. If you know, let me know whether you can make elderflower cordial from the flowers. The flowers are finished now. You can see just the berries. It's middle of July, so and I tend to trim it quite a bit from the top to create this nice, luscious, bushy sort of growth in the middle. At the bottom, underneath, I have euphorbia, and that's the plant name, and it's looking really good as well. A nice water feature with some lights. You can see. The trouble with this water feature is that I think it's resin, and it's actually peeling already, so it's not the best. So I'm not sure if I would recommend those sort of. If you are trying to create a nice water feature, go for stone or something that you think wouldn't necessarily go funny color or sort of peel quickly. Can you see that there's peeling over there? So although it looked nice for the first year, I think it's time to kind of find an alternative. So and then I have magnolia. It's lovely actually, Magnolia stellata. I'm trying to keep it this shape because it actually fills this space quite nicely. I don't want it too tall or too big because I don't want it to shade the apple tree. So, but in spring it looks amazing. You can see that's garlic. See edibles. My edibles are everywhere in between of flowers. So these are garlic skips. You can actually eat those. You can just chop these into salads or cook with them. This is if you see scapes like this, that's hard neck variety of garlic rather than soft neck variety. There's Fatsia. I love Fatsias because they actually stay green all year round. So they have a very sort of a luscious look to them, and actually quite a oriental look, if you see what I mean. A gorgeous yellow rose, nice bush here. Actually, when trimming the roses, what I would recommend is if you have if you have a couple of sort of flowers, one's finished flowering and the other one is still a bud, you can just trim it over here. But if you have like this situation where I don't think they're gonna make it now, they're kind of not looking fantastic, I would tend to cut it like somewhere down here. So because what that means is every time you make a cut, the plant will create two shoots typically, or new growth from the cut, some just below the cut that you've made. So to keep the plant nice and bushy, because otherwise it will start to go very leggy and very woody, and you will have no growth at the bottom, and then you will have like just really sort of leggy plant. So I tend to, once I see like in here, that I would probably cut it quite low to keep that sort of nice and bushy shape, and that will encourage growth from all sides and underneath. And then you're keeping that plant nice and sort of good shape. But if you see a new growth like this, and you can see some buds coming, so I'll just leave that, and obviously you get a lot more flowers. Also, if you trim it this way, you will get a lot more flowers. And this rose is now, I think, three or four times flowered since spring. Tomato plants at the back with the cane. Oh, there's some tomatoes. Look at that. There's some tomatoes over here. And then they're looking pretty good. There's another tomato plant over there, and an apple tree. This one is called, I think, Jonathan apple. They're lovely. Look how red and gorgeous they look. So this apple tree hasn't produced many apples yet. This is probably a 3rd year growth. And so what I would suggest is, what I did was actually I pinched the smaller apples, the ones that did not look like they were going to make it, and also I kept sort of trimming some of the new growth, but literally just pinching it with my hand. If you can't pinch it with your hand, then you're going too far. So the new growth throughout the summer, just to encourage more shoots and more branches, you can just literally do this like same as for the cherry tree. So that's new growth, so I would probably just pinch that there. There you go. If you can do it with your hand, then that's fine. Obviously you can't do it there because it's woody, so don't trim it too hard, if that's what I'm trying to say, really. Peony finished flowering already. I love peonies, but I would say they only flower once, and then you just get the green leaves. I mean, it is nice and looks pretty good, but I think I prefer roses because actually they keep flowering throughout the summer all the time. Here's another garlic. It's going to be time to harvest these soon. Okay, blueberries. I have 2 pots with blueberries. Oh, they're looking pretty good, aren't they? Oh, look at that. That's a blueberry. This has literally no pesticides, rainwater, no pesticides, that is absolutely gorgeous. Straight from the tree, look at that. Okay, these are not the same as wild blueberries that you pick in the woods. The wild blueberries will probably be smaller than this, and less juicy, but these are, pretty good, better than the shop bought. And they taste really good. Cosmos, looking really good, and the tomato plant behind. I have a couple of cucumbers, actually 4 plants, 4 cucumber plants. They're doing all right. They're not doing like tremendously well in there, but and gooseberry. I planted this gooseberry there, but I think I've made a mistake with the location, because you can see it's actually very low gooseberry, so it's not one of those that creates a nice height and sort of higher bush. This one is actually really low to the ground, so I think I'm going to, in autumn or late winter, I will dig him up and put him in the front, so that I can actually access it for a start, because it's really behind everything else, and it has more sort of room to grow. Some dianthus, little dianthus there. I love dianthus. They smell fantastic, and they keep flowering again all summer long. So that's one of my favorite flowers. They smell amazing as well. Love it. Here's more garlic. Oh, look at that. I think, yes, these are bulbils. Bulbils. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but you know that when planting garlic, typically you plant garlic by buying a bulb, separating the cloves, and then planting the cloves in the ground. Now, there is another method which I didn't know about. Is if you let your scapes, this is a scape, mature and produce these little tiny garlic bulbils in the top, you can actually plant them, and you can create garlic from that too. Apparently this is one way to create a solo garlic, which is one garlic bulb that's fairly decent size but has only one clove. So when you peel it, there's just one. It's not like typically you get garlic, you get lots of different cloves and you peel them, there's a lot of peeling. Whereas if you plant these in the first year, these bulbils will create solo garlic cloves, or solo garlic bulbs. It's probably the better way of saying it. And that is really cool. But if you then plant them again in the following year, they should split into separate cloves. So they'll create a bigger bulb with more cloves. Anyway, it's just a piece of useless information, and maybe it might become handy one day. Here's another cherry tree. It's finished flowering as well. Sort of whenever I see a new growth, just pinch that, because for column trees you want the branches to be maximum about sort of 20 to 30 centimeters from the stem, from the main trunk. So okay, what else have we got? Another gooseberry over here and another rose over there. And here is a pear tree as well. You can see there's, this one has gone wrong too. There's some corrections that I need to make. So I'll do a video on how to fix the issues with this tree. Because again, there's branches missing. It's not quite in the, the shape isn't quite right for an espalier. So there's some fixing to do there. There's a massive grass in here. It's gone crazy, this grass. Look at that. I actually don't remember the name of the grass, but what it does, it produces very tall stalks with sort of a nice seeds, I guess. And what I would say is, what I tend to do in late autumn, I cut these, I dry them, and I put them in vases in the house for the autumn and winter. Here's my rhubarb. Okay, there's an issue with this rhubarb. It keeps going to seed. I have not eaten a single rhubarb stem yet, because I think this location is not right. I think it's too sunny in here, and what this plant is doing is keeps producing the flowers rather than growing the actual leaves and stems. You can see that's not what it should look like. So I think I'm just going to move him into a different location. But again, it's not the time now. You will kill the plant if you move it now, so it needs to happen in probably late autumn, once the leaves have died out for the winter. This is my middle bed. It's quite wide. I think it's about maybe 2.5 meters wide, and a few meters long that way. And here I grow my main crop of vegetables. Okay, there's a mixture of things in here. In the winter, sort of, what was that, February, I think March, I sowed onions in here, shallots. So these are shallots there. You can see there's a good shallot there. There's some more over here under the leaves. Look at that, they're doing really well. What else have I got in here? So because this bed is really wide, I can't quite reach to the middle easily, so I planted sunflowers in the middle. You can see they're very tall, lovely sunflowers. And then in the front I planted some courgette plants. So I have been eating courgettes already from here. There's one really lovely. These are the round courgettes that create nice. Can you see that? nice bowl, round courgettes there. It needs some weeding. You can see some weeds in there. And then I have tiny tomatoes. These are like a little, look at these. There'll be tomatoes on this tiny plant, but look how many tomatoes. It's crazy, right? Cosmos has gone crazy. And then what else have I got? Rhododendrons, they're not doing very well. I need some, I think it's either feeding. I need to maybe increase food. Here's horseradish. So I'm going to be making some horseradish. Again, you can subscribe and see those videos on that. Here's some pumpkins. There's going to be a pumpkin. Yes, we have pumpkin. Look at that. There's pumpkin over there. Right. In this bed, here's another pumpkin. Look, it's doing really well, that pumpkin. Okay, so what we have in here, another plum tree. Okay, this plum tree hasn't got any plums because they are planted, that plum tree and the other one at the same time, but the issue here was it was too wet in here, and that bed was actually sitting in water underneath. So I dug a big hole, I put a lot of gravel in, and then I replanted the tree back again, and it's doing much better. So I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, I'll get some plums next year. In here we have lots of dianthus. Oh, look, they're absolutely gorgeous. I have pink ones, I have red ones. I really love the tall dianthus like this because they look a bit like carnations, don't they? But I cut them because they have nice long stems and use them in my flower arrangements. So yeah, this garden, I'm trying to create like a very practical, beautiful and practical garden that you can supply your kitchen, as well as use things for like decorations or small fun projects, house projects. This is a nice bed in here. Let me just change direction so you can see it a bit better. So this flower bed is actually lower than the others. Okay, it's quite wet in here. It gathers a lot of water, so it's a good one for plants that are thirsty in water. I have some dianthus in front. I've got tomatoes. Again, you can see that I keep planting just different things all together, mixed up. So I have some, I think these must be squashes, and there's some squashes in here. Hopefully there will be some squashes. Oh yes, the patty pans. Oh, look at that. There's a tiny patty pan on there. And then we have some sunflowers as well. We have, what else have we got in here? So that's on this side of this flower, but it's again the same thing. I planted some tomatoes and then I planted some spring onions. And look at that. I've only done I sowed these from seed, so very little effort. And we have been eating onions. So actually, I have been self-sufficient for onions this year. Now I have tried to grow big onions, like normal size onions, in the past, but I have not been very successful because my soil is just clay and it's not fantastic. So I decided this year that I'm going to try with smaller onions, like shallots on the other side and spring onions on this side. And look, I have been successful. So if you have tried something and it doesn't work, just don't give up and just try again. Change your approach and try again. See, this worked and this is perfectly fine. Here we have some, again, courgettes, I think. There's a lot of male flowers. A lot of, how do you tell a male flower is you can see that if the flower has got a long stalk like this and there's a flower at the end, that's a male flower. Whereas the female flowers, they are the ones that actually have fruit. So there would be like maybe something looking like this, where there would actually be a flower at the end. Let me just find you another one. You can see the female flowers. So the female flowers are the ones that have fruit. Again, lots of male flowers. Oh, there it is. There's one. There's a female flower. So there's a fruit, tiny fruit, and then there's a flower. And if that flower is pollinated from the pollen from the male flower, then you get a fruit. Otherwise the fruit will fall off. So I'll see if I can find one that has not been successfully. So if your courgette or a patty pan or your plant looks like this, where it's nice and healthy and the end is nice and sort of sealed up, then your plant, your fruit has been pollinated correctly. If, however, it looks yellow and sort of funny color, yellow, maybe doesn't quite look nice like this, then it hasn't been pollinated correctly. So you might as well just pick that and discard it. Don't eat those, obviously. Let me just see if I can find one that has not worked. Maybe there's, oh, what's in here? There's a yellow courgette. Look at that. That's perfectly, actually, it's ready to be eaten. To be eaten. Don't seem to have ones that haven't worked yet. Maybe I find it on another plant. I'll show you when I do find it. So what else have we got? Again, more tomatoes. They're looking really good over here. See? So that is my middle bed. It's a mixture of things. Earlier in the spring, on this part, I was actually growing some broad beans, and they went wild. I managed to pick like several kilos of broad beans, which was fantastic. But then when you grow, say, broad beans or any type of bean, maybe even sweet peas, I think, runner beans or peas, don't pull the roots out of the ground when you finish with them. Just cut gently at the top and leave the roots in the ground, because the roots will provide nitrogen back into the soil. So it's actually really beneficial to grow sort of legumes and every so often in your beds, to regenerate the soil naturally and put the nitrogen back. Okay, what else have we got? So we got here, this is sumac tree. You can see it has lovely flowers. See? These are sort of big flower pods, and when you break that off and sort of squish it in your hand and put it on your tongue, it's gonna have that sour sort of taste, like a lemony taste. You can buy it in shops as a spice, you know. So that is exactly what that is. It's basically dried up sumac flower pods. Not sure if this is a flower pod. I think it's called flower pod. And here's a lovely ladybird. We are friends. I like him. Okay, then what we have in here is a hedge. I'm trying to hide the fence behind. Underneath the hedge I have strawberries, because, as I said to you, this part of the garden, it gets a lot of sun. So those strawberry plants at the bottom are actually doing really well. And what I keep doing with the hedge is occasionally just trim it underneath a little bit, just to create that little gap for the strawberries to thrive at the bottom. My middle bed in here, I have lots of stuff in here as well. I have some courgettes again. There's a nice courgette. Look, there's a gorgeous courgette for dinner tonight. I have some tomatoes again in here. Canna plants. I know they haven't grown very, very tall this year for some reason, but they are flowering, so they're doing all right. The canna plants typically grow massive, so I was really hoping to get like really tall ones, but they didn't quite work. I do wonder whether I actually planted them a little too late in the summer, hence they didn't quite made it sort of. They concentrated on producing flowers rather than producing the green leaves first. And then what else have we got? We've got some dahlia, looking really nice. Some more tomatoes, baked potato squash. Look at that, it's looking really good, isn't it? Looking really, there's another one here, see? And I'm gonna have 3. There's another one. There's a baked potato squash. Hello, buddy. So that's my center bed. I also have some beans growing up there. Hello. This is my cat, Buddy. Hello. Hello. We are doing a garden tour. We're telling everyone what we have. And so this is the corner of the garden. This gets quite a lot of sun as well because the sun comes above the garage and hits this spot. So I have some cob nuts. This is a cob nut plant, and there's another one over there. But I have not seen yet any cob nuts. So this is like 4 years, I think they have been in here, and not a single nut. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely zero. Seriously, it's quite annoying. Never mind. And then again I have some, that's a squash. We were eating off of this plant yesterday. Buddy, don't dig over there, please. I have another grapevine in here, again squatting in a pot at the moment, again waiting for a suitable location. Here's my white rose. It's looking really good. And again, when you're trimming the rose, this is a good example actually. What you need to do is, can you see, I trimmed it last time, I trimmed it up here, so that is the last cut, and then the plant produced a stem, another stem, 2 stems from right underneath the cut from the next node. This is what happens to roses, you see. If you want a nice bushy plant, don't cut over here when you are getting rid of the flowers, the spent flowers. Cut much further down, so at least 10 centimeters, 10, 15 centimeters. That's really long as well. And then once you've done that, when the next flush of flowers comes, you let them grow. So obviously you want the flowers, right? You want to see and enjoy these lovely roses. And so just let them grow, and then but when it's time to cut, once they finish, when it's time to cut them again, you start again over here, because then that means that your plant will be nice and bushy over here, and then it will get, because otherwise if you don't do that, if you cut over here, the plant will start producing new shoots from this level up, so your plant will get massive and leggy. There will be nothing at the bottom. Okay, what else? I did have my little water bath, but I think it's cracked. Look, it's cracked in bad weather, so I think I'm gonna have to buy a new one. This is perfect for beds or for little insects to drink from, so I think I'm just gonna have to replace that. Okay, this is a black currant bush. I think I've finished now black currants. I think they're done now. So I've picked all of the black currants. And again, it's quite a nice location for it because it's nice and sunny. I'm thinking about taking some cuttings from these. We'll see, because it would be nice to have like 1 or 2 plants, maybe 2 more. I love black currants. I think they're really, really tasty. And then what else have we got in here? Another little, this is a tea rose, I think, because it's on the little stem, and then it's got a nice little round sort of shape at the top. These are, I think, actually bugs and bees absolutely love this plant. I think it's called sebum. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they are gorgeous. And I think this one is the pink one, and they will attract a ton of insects. Here's another courgette. Look, there's a black courgette, this one. The plant is not very big, but it's produced a nice fruit. It's good. This needs trimming. Again, I think this is a winter job. Rudbeckia. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, they are very easy to grow. If you are like me and sometimes you tend to forget about plants or maybe neglect them a bit, Rudbeckia is a good one because it's very easy to grow, very low maintenance, and it looks gorgeous. It will spread as well, so if you want to make more, I have some more in the other part of the garden. They're very easy to propagate. You just propagate them by division, so when they finish flowering and it's sort of late autumn, you can lift the plant and then just divide it up and then move it to a new location. Okay, here's more scapes. Look, you can see those bulbils, the little tiny garlics in there. So it's interesting that garlic plants actually don't produce seeds. not like onions. Like onions produce seeds, but garlics don't. They produce these bugles instead, which are tiny garlics, which is really quite fun. Here is a jumbo pink banana, a squash, winter squash. I haven't seen any fruit yet on this. There's lots of male flowers again. Not many, or not any. I don't see any female flowers. That's quite annoying. Okay, and what else have we got? What's interesting? Okay, this is my bay tree. It's looking really good. I keep pinching. Oh no, there is a jumbo pink banana. That's a fruit one. That's a female one. You can see that's a fruit with a tiny flower at the end. Whereas male ones, let's just find one. Male ones have a stalk and a flower at the end. So there's no fruit here. Yes. So the pollen needs to go from here all the way to here, and to make that successful pollination and obviously make a fruit. So hopefully I'll have at least one jumbo pink banana. Some grasses at the bottom. They look really lovely. I think they're very decorative. Grasses are very cool. Look at that. It's a very dreamy look, I think. So going back to my bay tree, I had some problems with my bay tree before because it was actually over there, and it was really waterlogged. That area there is very stony and waterlogged. And what I found is that it was going yellow. You can see some remains of that. You can see that some of the leaves are not fantastic. The plant has not yet fully recovered, but it's doing really well. And it's nice and bushy. I keep trimming the top, and I keep using the leaves in cooking, in stews and stuff. That's really good. I just love to have fresh herbs. Herbs can be really expensive, and then you buy a jar of you think you can get bay leaves in like packets or jars, and then they go stale in the cupboard. They sit there for years, and then they just have no flavor. So investing in herbs and spices to grow yourself in a garden is actually a really smart idea, because it saves money. You get absolutely fantastic fresh leaves or fresh spices or herbs, and you're saving a ton of money. So trellis, you can see my beans, runner beans. Will probably come back later in the summer. I'll show you. Oh, there's more here. They're getting there. There's one. Look, all of that. Hopefully bees will pollinate, and I'm going to have lots of runner beans. That's my salvia. It's doing really well. It's grow salvias if you want lots of bees in your garden. Because look, there's a bee, Mr. Bee. Can you see them? There's a Mr. Bee over there. There you go. There's another jumbo pink banana down here. And look at this rose. It's actually very tall. This is actually my almost my neck height. This is really high actually. I keep trimming it. I keep trimming it down half, about there. Look. So the actual the growth. Look at that. I trimmed it. Must have been. Where is the cuts? The cuts are down here somewhere, and they keep throwing new ones, and it's absolutely fantastic. I think roses grow very well on clay. I did not realize that. I love this one because it's full. It creates amazing full clusters of flowers, and they smell divine as well. Really amazing. I think this one is one of my favorite. For some reason, as well, this one does not suffer from the rose spot. You know, like you get spotty leaves. This one seems like amazingly green. I'm not doing anything to it other than just cut. When they finish, I really just cut them by about sort of at least half, and just keep that shape over winter. And then this is amazing. Okay. What else have we got in here? Oh, these are my onions. I actually let my onions flower because I thought that bees seem to like it. Look, there's a bee there as well. Insects seem to like it, so I just left these onions to flower. And then lovage, another one here. Again, bees and insects seem to like the flowers from lovage, so I tend to just leave them. Okay, and now this is, so that's where the bins are hidden behind there. So that's the idea, is to have the trellis, sort of grow beans to hide the bins, and then the bins and my propagating buddy's now inside of my body. What you doing? What are you doing? Look, my cat is using it as a bench. Unbelievable. Are you comfy? Unbelievable. So yeah, there's the bins over there, and then I just tend to use that little greenhouse as a propagator. I have some flowers in there growing at the moment. Okay, so now this way, this is my path. This is the path to the garage, and then the rest of the house. So we came from over there. Again, there's a nice wall over here, and then I have created sort of excuse me, a flower bed over here too, because I want to obviously have a lot of space for growing things. So excuse me, what have we got in here? Sage, looking really good. I had like 3 plants, but I do not use a huge amount of sage, so I thought that I didn't need that many, so I actually just got rid of the others, and I only kept 1 plant. More tomatoes, onions, tomatoes there, there's salvia, and there is my beetroot. So I planted beetroots along here amongst all these garlics. You can see I'm going to have a lot of garlic this year. It's gonna be a lot of garlics, because I literally planted it everywhere. And garlic is the most easy plant you can possibly grow. Literally, I pushed them in the ground where they are, and that's it. I did not do anything else to them, literally. Okay, so what else have we got here? So that's that. Oregano, it's lovely. Look, it's flowering, looking really good, actually. Oh, and this is fennel. Nice fennel plant. So be careful with a fennel plant, because when you do let it go to seed, these seeds will drop and it will self-seed everywhere. But I don't mind that, because actually insects absolutely love these flowers. So if you want to attract bugs into your garden, this is definitely a good plant to grow. And you can obviously eat the leaves or the fronds. They're not leaves; they're called fronds. It has a very aniseedy taste, so it's quite an acquired taste, the fronds, but that's edible. Okay, what else have we got? I think it's chard. I did not realize I actually managed to grow some chard accidentally over there, but I just left it because it might be useful. And then the last plant is thyme over here, and then I have some strawberry plants amongst all this. I forgot what this one's called. It's not cordyline. Cordyline is very similar to this. And the cordyline will have a nice one stem, and it will kind of grow up. And as the leaves go funny, go old, you can start pinching the leaves around the cordyline. Whereas it creates this sort of shape all the time. It will just produce more shoots like this. I forgot what it's called, actually. If you know, let me know, because I would love to kind of remind myself what that is. Cucumbers. They're growing all the way here. Oh my goodness, look, there's a little cucumber. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that. More cucumbers, chives. Look, this is good. Chives is fantastic, because chives will actually come back each year. So it's a really good herb to grow, because if you like it with cottage cheese, for example, it's fantastic with cottage cheese chopped up. And a bit of salt, or even a bit of lemon and salt. So definitely I would recommend you grow chives. The other herb that I love growing is coriander and parsley. I think, what's this one? This is parsley. Oh, it smells good. So this one's parsley. I have quite a few. There's another one there. And parsley, it's another one that's really good to grow because it will grow over 2 years. So whereas coriander will just grow, flower, and that's it. It's literally one season. Whereas parsley, there's another one over there. Parsley will grow over 2 seasons. So you will get a lot of, a lot of value for money, good value for money. And then I think that's pretty much everything in here. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this garden tour. This is literally everything that I am growing at this present time in my garden. Thank you very much for watching and take care for now.